Cronkite News starts now.
Welcome to this Monday edition of Cronkite News. I'm Tyler Mannion.
And I'm Danielle Malkin. Thank you for joining us. Hospitals may soon be able to resume elective surgeries.
Governor Doug Ducey issued a new order saying hospitals, dental offices, and other health facilities can start performing elective surgery starting Friday. But in order to perform these surgeries, health facilities must show they've implemented measures to keep healthcare workers and patients safe. These measures include showing they have more than a 14-day supply of personal protection equipment, that they have adequate staffing and beds, that at-risk healthcare workers have been tested prior, implementing a universal symptom screening process for staff, patients, and visitors, creating an enhanced cleaning process for waiting areas, and making sure urgent patients are scheduled first. If facilities can meet these standards, they will then need approval from the Department of Health Services. The executive director for the Arizona Public Health Association said the application process is important for the health and safety of the patients.
First thing that they need to do is to turn in an application to the state health department, because that the allowance that the governor, the executive order from last week allows hospitals to apply to be able to continue to do or to lift the suspension on elective procedures.
Hospitals are filling out their applications this week in order to get approved and resume elective surgeries this Friday.
Whether COVID-19 relief funds from the government have been approved or not, the coronavirus pandemic has taken a toll on businesses across the state. Cronkite News reporter Frankie McClister spoke to a few of those in hope of learning about their solutions.
It's been a challenge. I can't even describe it, and I have days where I'm distraught and crying and depressed, and other days I'm like, okay, you got to suck it up and do your thing because people need you to be strong.
When Governor Doug Ducey ordered all restaurants to only provide takeout and delivery options due to COVID-19, Kelly Cabral and her husband knew there was only one option to survive: lay off their approximately 100 employees spread across their 5 restaurants in the greater Prescott Valley area.
I feel very helpless. I'm sure a lot of people do, and a lot of employers do.
Helpless, but also doing the best that they can under these circumstances to help those who no longer have an income.
We gave people groceries when we started, when we laid people off. It was not the formal, here's your pink slip thing.
Back in March, Governor Doug Ducey defined restaurants, bars, and theaters as non-essential, only allowing for restricted service. Since then, businesses all across Arizona have struggled to figure out ways to adjust to a new financial reality. And if that means wine delivery and virtual wine tastings, Elgin-based CALLAGHAN Vineyards is willing to do just that.
The problem that we have is that you still have to farm, even if you don't, and obviously that requires cash.
Cash that the federal government is trying to roll out, but there have been major glitches. The first round of loans ran out before giving many businesses the chance to even apply. The Senate passed a roughly $480 billion relief package last week that includes hundreds of billions of dollars in new funding for small businesses hurt by the coronavirus outbreak. The Senate passed the package by a voice vote, meaning most senators would not need to return to Washington during the pandemic. The bill went to the House, which voted on the package last week. In Arizona, larger businesses just like the Valley of the Sun YMCA have more brainpower and funding to work with. Counting 15 locations all across the state of Arizona, its focus is on finding solutions for their members who utilize their facilities every single day. This includes the launching of their senior outreach initiative and rebranding part of their website, now known as the Virtual YMCA.
We're finding different ways to continue making that difference in our community for individuals that are members at the YMCA, but also not.
And in a statement, the Tucson Chamber of Commerce told us at Cronkite News, quote, "We suggest that businesses that are struggling follow through with applying for as many grants and loans for which they are eligible. Above all, stay hopeful, be patient and innovative, because now is the time to be creative to find brand new ways of doing things for your business." And for Kelly Cabral, COVID-19 has already cost her restaurant business well over $100,000. Her mission to continue supporting her employees and stay resilient through this time is what she believes will make them stronger in the end.
Someone called me the other day, "What's this 941 thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, here, I'll send you a picture. This is what it is."
The quarterly withholdings form, also known as the 941, tells the IRS how much employees should receive from their employer when it comes to their tax return. It isn't the only only thing Cabral is trying to help her employees navigate. She's also trying to give them life advice and plans a warm welcome back when business returns to normal.
Just being supportive of each other. I think that's been the biggest thing, in communicating and reassuring people the best you can that we'll get through it and come out on the other side.
In Phoenix, Frankie McLister, Cronkite News.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is also promising that the next coronavirus relief legislation will help state and local governments coping with massive revenue shortfalls as the pandemic's economic impact continues. It comes as select businesses in a few states, including Oklahoma, Alaska, Michigan, and Georgia, were allowed to reopen Friday. And more businesses are set to follow suit this week. States including Colorado, Montana, Tennessee, Minnesota, and Iowa are planning to relax some business restrictions as well. As for Arizona, Governor Doug Ducey has not confirmed when we'll return to business as usual.
COVID-19, St. Mary's Food Bank locations are experiencing a spike in traffic and a drop in volunteers while still trying to meet demand and feed hungry families. Cronkite News reporter Delaney White spoke to the Director of Public Relations about how you can help or receive help if needed.
He was at a low-level point in his job and had worked up to a point where he was a manager and managing 8 to 10 people. And then, of course, that restaurant closed and he had to lay all those folks off and himself. Got home and found out his car was stolen that same day that he had to lay himself off from work. And then went to the grocery store, and then there was no food at the grocery store that day. So he wound up at St. Mary's Food Bank at the end of a very, very long day and at the end of his emotional rope. And we don't get to hear every story because we're trying to feed folks and get them on their way and get them home, which is where they should be, as fast as they can, but we know there are thousands of those stories every day.
These stories are what keep the thin-stretched group of volunteers going while feeding an unprecedented amount of families. The National Guard is helping to box meals, but the food bank is still in need of additional help.
A lot of ways that folks can help. Our volunteer corps, which is normally 250 to 300 people a day, that shrank to about 20. But we do need volunteers. We can use volunteers. We are practicing safe social distancing. We've changed our entire model. We need them to be able to sign on to our volunteer porthole at firstfoodbank.org and let us know how many people are coming. The other way to help great is monetarily. You can do that safely from your own house at firstfoodbank.org. You can make a safe donation on your phone, on your computer. Every dollar provides 7 meals into the community.
St. Mary's has historically had very generous donors, but recently the tables have turned and they are in need of more help than ever before.
We have so many people coming to the food bank now who used to be donors, who used to be volunteers. Now they're on the other side and they're asking for help. They work paycheck to paycheck, and those paychecks have stopped a couple of weeks ago. It's going to be a while before any government supplement is going to happen. They're caught in the middle, and St. Mary's is here to help. And it's our job to want to say yes to every family that comes through here. And our major message right now is call us and we will help you.
Despite dwindling resources, the food bank remains open and has not yet had to turn anyone away, thanks to generous donors and committed volunteers.
You can call 602-242-FOOD. Food is 3663. You can go online to stmarysfoodbank.org and click Get Help. When you pump in your zip code, it'll tell you the one that's closest to you. But if this is the first time you've found yourself in this situation, don't be embarrassed to come down here. We will walk you through the process, and we will make sure that your dignity is intact and you leave with food for your family, and that's the most important thing for everybody.
Delaney White, Cronkite News.
St. Mary's Food Bank and many of their agencies fall under essential services and will remain open. However, effective April 13th, the hours at the distribution centers will be Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m.
Educational leaders in Arizona fear a looming recession created by the coronavirus could once again mean a reduction in school funding. From 2008 to 2015, Arizona slashed more money for schools compared to any other state, dropping funding per student by about 37%. The cuts eventually prompted the Red for Ed movement in 2018, when teachers protested at the state capitol for a week and brought public education to a halt. Since then, lawmakers have returned some of the money to the state's education budget, but it's still not back to pre-recession levels.
Hospitals and healthcare facilities in Arizona continue to face supply shortages when it comes to personal protective equipment like face masks. Cronkite News reporter Christian Sita explains how a Chinese American relief group that came to life on social media is coming to the rescue.
A few thousand face masks were delivered to a Phoenix hospital. Then another shipment came to a Tucson hospital. So far, Chinese American COVID-19 Relief AZ has donated 100,000 face masks to Arizona medical workers fighting on the coronavirus battleground.
Medical staff is the front line. If a lot of them get infected, and then everybody loses. So we feel that we have the need to help them to stay strong and to protect the society.
Chinese American COVID-19 Relief AZ got started on WeChat, a messaging app. Many members of the community were talking and grew concerned about mask shortages. They decided to seek donations on GoFundMe, then reached thousands of miles overseas to China.
You don't know how much money you're going to collect and how the community is going to respond. I'm not a community, existing community kind of organization leader. I'm just a religious citizen.
Well, the turnout was huge. About 300 people, mostly Chinese Americans, pledged money. The group was able to raise more than $50,000 to buy the masks and donate them to Banner Health hospitals.
We are Chinese Americans. We always feel like we are a vital part of a society and we want to help. In this event particularly, we feel we are in a unique position to help because China is producing a lot of masks, and it's right now it's probably the only place you can buy a large quantity of mask from.
Banner Health leaders expressed appreciation. Banner Health Foundation President Andy Kramer Peterson published a statement saying, "We are thankful to be a recipient of the resourcefulness and generosity of the Chinese American COVID-19 Relief Organization. Their ability to mobilize, research, and make contacts to meet this community need is inspiring." More shipments of masks are on their way to other hospitals, but their work doesn't stop there. They continue to raise money so they can provide masks for police and fire stations. Wang says, "We will get through this as one."
We hope people stay safe and we could go over this all together. And we are one community to work to go through this.
In Phoenix, Christian Sita, Cronkite News.
We want to hear from you about other acts of humanity during this crisis. If you or someone you know is stepping up to help others, please email us at cronkitenews@asu.edu.
Summer weather is in full spring in the valley after hitting triple-digit temps on Sunday for the first time this year.
Stephanie Bates is standing by now with a look at our 8-day forecast as those highs continue to climb. Stephanie?
That's correct. Things are heating up here in the valley. And before we get to that 8-day forecast, let's talk about our first triple-digit day of 2020. We reached that mark yesterday, also setting a record for the hottest ever April 26th in history here in Phoenix. We reached 102 degrees. Now, fortunately, things won't get that hot today in the valley, but we will see triple digits. At 5 p.m., we'll be at 100 degrees, and as our evening progresses, temperatures will slowly trail off into those low 90s, reaching 89 degrees by 9 o'clock with clear skies and a slight breeze for our Monday evening. Now, waking up tomorrow, if you're a hiker like I am, you're going to want to get out early because temperatures will get pretty hot pretty quick. We'll be at 70 degrees at 8 a.m., climbing to 90 by 11 o'clock, 98 by 2 p.m., and we'll see our peak tomorrow of 100 degrees right around 5 o'clock. We do have clear sunny skies for all of our Tuesday. Now, as we expand to look at highs across the state of Arizona for tomorrow, Kingman in the northwest part of the state will be topping out at 93 degrees. The lower Colorado River Valley will be in the triple digits, with Lake Havasu having the hottest temperature in the state of 105 degrees. And Tucson and Safford down south will be flirting with 100. Now, you're going to want to be up in the high country tomorrow because Grand Canyon and Flagstaff will be topping out at 80 for their high tomorrow. Prescott, Sedona, and Payson will all be hovering right around 90, and Show Low will have a high of 82 degrees. Now, coming back down to the valley to look at our 8-day forecast, we're going to have triple digits sticking with us all the way up until Friday, and our weekend will bring a bit of a cool down, dropping just a few degrees down to 98 on Saturday, 96 on Sunday, and we're going to kick off our work week flirting with those triple digits again with lows in the mid-60s. For Cronkite News, I'm Stephanie Bates.
Experts say Native and Indigenous communities are more at risk during the time of the coronavirus due to health disparities and a lack of resources. So they're using one of their traditional celebrations to help heal. Cronkite News reporter Jennifer Alvarez shows us how they're keeping connected and empowering one another during this tough time.
In South Dakota, a dance. In Hawaii, a piece of artwork. And in Alberta, Canada, a song. This one sang by Quade Mountain Horse, just 7 years old.
He's been singing since the time he could talk.
He's singing on the Social Distance Powwow group on Facebook.
I love to sing.
This time of year is when many tribal communities host powwows, a time to showcase Native traditions.
Native peoples have been gathering and celebrating for eons. We congregate and we celebrate at events called powwows. They're exceptional social events,
which historically have been inspirational, has been a way for Native American people to get through challenging times or to keep you uplifted, to keep you grounded, to keep you connected.
But most powwows have been canceled due to the pandemic.
We've had this taken away, but we will not be deterred. We'll find a way.
And so they did. Stephanie Aber, Dan Simons, and Whitney Rencounter created the Social Distance Powwow group on Facebook to bring virtual powwows to life and to help with healing.
I'm dancing for helping our healing for the people that are infected by the COVID-19.
In this time, there's a lot of folks in our Native community who are sick or their family members have tested positive. And very sadly, several of our members have reported that they've lost family to the virus. And another thing that dancers do is we pray. We pray for healing, we pray for strength, and we pray for our communities and we pray over our people.
Some Native communities have been hit particularly hard, including the Navajo Nation, which saw hundreds of cases by mid-April.
Instead of being defeated in the COVID-19 pandemic, we felt like it was important to do something to try to find a place for people to come.
He says the group is a way to uplift people and keep everyone connected through Native American or Indigenous song, dance, and art.
I knew it was going to be big because powwow people, we live for it.
But they never expected it to take off so quickly.
We had no idea.
Within a week, we had about 60,000 people at our first powwow.
Now, the Facebook group has members from around the globe.
It certainly blew our minds out of the water in terms of how many people are on this group and how many different parts of the world.
I mean, Alaska, Australia, that's amazing.
Quade's parents never expected such a big response to their son's video either.
Oh, I was so amazed. Quade was amazed. And
when you saw the likes like that.
Yeah, he's more interested in the likes.
Over 1,400 of them. But it's much more than just the numbers.
It's time for us to be seen and heard. And that's kind of what this movement has brought. It's a chance for us to be seen and heard, and people are seeing it and feeling it.
And a lot of them, for the first times, have opened their eyes and their minds and their hearts to Indigenous songs, dances, art, storytelling.
And it's finally a movement for Natives by Natives.
And it all comes back to being connected to one another.
The ways that Native people gather
during a time that it's needed the most
are so family-oriented and friend-oriented, and we thrive on those social connections.
During this time of pause, during this time of change, we're kind of coming back to what really is important to us, and that's family. And that's our connection to other things in this world.
All three of us now are just blown away by the positivity this has brought and the healing that this has brought.
We have a saying in our language, we say mitakuye oyasi, which means all my relations, that we're all related, we're all connected in this world.
And as for Quade,
I like making people happy.
He'll continue doing just that by connecting people through the songs he sings at home in Canada that echo all around the world. In Phoenix, Jennifer Alvarez, Cronkite News.
The page also helps out Native and Indigenous vendors who don't have places to sell their handcrafted items or art anymore, something they would have traditionally done at the powwows. And moving forward, the group plans to continue hosting a new live powwow every week.
That's it for Cronkite News, from our homes to yours. Thanks for watching.
For Arizona news updates throughout the day, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter and find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.